Dua Lipa and Physical. It's Dermot and Dave. It is Today FM. You want to get in touch today? 087 4100 102.
So, there's lots of comedy happening, but not as you would think. Obviously, the comedy clubs have been closed, so things have been forced to either go online or comedians have been forced to come up with more imaginative ways to put on gigs. How about GardenGigsIreland.com? Comedians Danny O'Brien and Damien Clark are on the line. How are you, lads?
Hey lads, how you doing?
Good.
Dermot and Dave, how's it going, man?
Danny and Damo, how are you?
So what have you been up to, you busy lads?
We've been flat out basically hijacking people's gardens and making them watch our jokes.
We've done our radio show from back gardens in the past,
Right,
but
yeah.
I would imagine that doing a stand-up comedy show is a lot harder to produce and to, I don't know, get a reaction out of your audience, because who are they?
Yeah, that's what we thought at first. I guess one of the stresses if you're putting on a comedy club or a theatre is, are people going to turn up? Are they going to leave their home? This way, like, they're probably going to be home. It's lockdown. So we just go to...
You've got a captive audience. They're not going anywhere else.
We're like Jehovah's Witnesses, just banging on people's door. Hello.
I want to hear a joke.
Can I introduce you to the good word of comedy?
Well, tell us about, Damo, tell us about the gigs and how they've been going so far and what you would actually experience at one of them.
Oh, great. I mean, you guys...
No, Damo, you don't talk anymore.
Festival
Danny, you
vibe,
answer that.
But...
Is he still there? Is he? I think he's drunk there. His Skype is drunk.
Yeah, you hang on there for a sec, Damo. Let Danny answer that one because your Skype's going crazy.
No problem. So what happened was initially we'd done a gig for Pieta House down in Ringsend, and that's how this all started a month ago for their Stay Day parade. And it was all socially distanced. We were kind of in the middle of an Astro turf court or whatever you want to call it, and all the locals were kind of around us, around the railings. It was bizarre, but it was really good crack. And then from there, we ended up doing some shows down in George Reynolds' flats, and even a couple of videos from that kind of went a little bit viral.
Yeah.
And it was on telly and stuff like that. And then we got asked to do some gigs for frontline staff in Wexford. We got a letter from the guards as well, in case any Karens want to start tweeting. And the local guards actually gave us a letter to let us travel outside of our jurisdiction because we were doing a gig for frontline. And it's just grown and grown. We're doing a gig for the ambulance service tomorrow and Coolmine Rehabilitation Centre as well.
Where are they happening?
In their back garden area. We're doing one in an ambulance bay tomorrow, believe it or not. For all the paramedics. It's going to be like a Street Fighter background.
Damo, are you back?
I think so. Did you hear any of that before?
No, you were just sounding like a robot. But you did a piece I saw in one of the videos of the garden gigs where you talked about there's something you can bring with you that allows you to get past any guard of suspicion.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, I've been walking around with my coffee mug because then it looks like, you just stepped out of your house.
So
you
not,
could be
not,
anywhere.
not a travel mug, an actual China mug.
Just a coffee mug. Yeah, like a China mug. And then if you have slippers and a robe as well, you're sorted. You can walk anywhere. They're not gonna look at you in a bathrobe and go, oh, he's definitely walked like 58 Ks. But you could have. Be Forrest Gump. But that same gig was funny. The one at the George Reynolds house in Irishtown was like, because some gigs are quite nerve-wracking, but nothing is more nerve-wracking. Like Danny and me were performing. The whole time there was like a 7-year-old kid just slowly pumping a super soaker while watching us. It could have been filled with urine, we don't know, but you have to perform when you've got that kind of pressure.
Yeah, no, it's a great motivator, the old water pistol.
Yeah, just like, and he stops for a second pumping it, and he's like, is he going to shoot us? And then slowly goes, he's like, I think you like that joke. I think you liked it.
And with your audience all spread out like that, I suppose I'm thinking of coming at this from a stand-up comedian's point of view. Do you not feel like you're kind of dying on your backside when your audience are so spread out like that?
A little bit, but it's not as bad as Zoom gigs because we've done a lot of Zoom gigs, man. If they leave, they just turn off. You just see the laptop slowly close in front of it. It's like, you see the gallery view of all the different squares of people. They just turn off like in Take Me Out. They're like,
oh God, that's so terrifying.
I'd rather them spread out, and because you have to really make them laugh for them to all come together as one when they're so spread out. So that's the challenge, and then it makes us better as performers.
Yeah,
so it's
because
like
there's something
we're loving the challenge of it.
There's something great about when a joke lands in a room and there's a wave of that laughter that comes back to you from the stage. But I presume even if you had like a couple of hundred people at a flats complex and they're all different balconies and deck chairs and standing around an Astro pitch, that it's not going to hit you in a wave.
Yeah, and you know why a lot of comedians love low ceiling venues, because it does keep the laugh in. Like that, because if they all laugh at once, you're like, yeah, I got him. And then within half a second, you're like, I'm going to have to get him again really quick.
Because it's gone now.
Danny,
It's gone, laugh and gone.
Danny, you're resident host of the Comedy Crunch and the Laughter Lounge in Dublin. And what are you feeling about actual comedy gigs? You know, the familiar ones with a proper audience and a stage. How are you feeling about the future of comedy, say, over the next year or so?
I think you've kind of nailed the word year. I think it's really important, because I think that's probably going to be the timeline that it's going to take for things to kind of return to normal. And I think, honestly, like it's going to take a while before things, and like people are still quite scared and stuff about coming out. And we didn't want to stop our careers in the interim. So we'd rather keep going and kind of keep comedy alive, so that when it does come back, it'll make things easier. Like I can't wait for the clubs and the festivals and stuff to come back. But in the in between, we've kind of found this weird kind of niche in between where we can actually perform. And like, to be honest with you, like we did a show last week for the residents of a drug rehabilitation centre, and it was the best gig that we've done so far. It was phenomenal crack. And, like, it really was. Like we were like, and we're doing a show on Saturday in O'Rahilly House, where we kind of began all of this for all the residents there, and we're actually going to be filming a special there.
Cool.
Yeah, and we've got John Murray, who I know you guys know, amazing photographer. He heard about it. He's actually going to do some drone work for us. Loads of other Irish producers, loads of people have got in touch with us, like videographers, people who've been out of work and stuff like us for the last few months, and have come together. And now we've got this mega gig to 100 people in a courtyard that's going to be filmed and put out online. And the same community actually gave us an allotment because we did some shows for them. So we actually, Garden Gigs Ireland, we actually have our own garden now as well.
That is brilliant.
Well, look, people can book you.
Fellas,
Yeah,
if you want a courgette in 3 months' time, where you guys?
You can actually grow your own jokes if you can plant a few seeds. People can book you. That's the amazing thing and the important thing to get across. So how do people go about doing that?
It's just, our website is GardenGigsIreland.com, and myself and Damo are obviously on all our social media handles at DOB Comedy and at Damien Clark. So give us a message on whatever medium you want. And we've done gigs in people's gardens to like a handful of people. We've done gigs for staff of different frontline companies, but we're doing online gigs as well. So you name it, we're doing it. So we're happy to do any gig. We're so happy with the response we've got so far. We're starting a little comedy project as well in Ringsend with young people. We just got approval literally about 40 minutes ago. So we're actually starting a comedy workshop for kids aged around 10 down in Ringsend and Irishtown community.
That's great.
The parents are going to hate us, man. The last thing Ringsend needs is more comedians.
Smart arse kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, after 20 minutes, you guys will probably be taking down notes from those kids.
Yeah. 100%. We're creating monsters, like.
Well, look, it's great the stuff that you're doing. Obviously, you're doing a lot for charity and a lot to help out and give back to communities. But it's important that companies and people realise that you got to make a living as well. So if you can book the lads, and I think it would be a nice one for corporates who are looking to maybe keep their staff together and keep morale up and keep the happiness levels up and all that. I think booking the two of you guys could be just the ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And we tailor all our shows. Like we've done a few corporate gigs for companies, and we get like the people booking us to give us info. Like one company who should remain nameless, their CEO broke his ribs during lockdown, and I think it may have been wine related. But we had all this loaded, and we had it was gas.
That's ammunition right there.
Yeah, and very easy to keep a poker face when you have a surgical mask on, because they were in a group. They were in work and all spread out with all masks on, and it was funny because it was supposed to be like a comedy gig, but it looked more like they had rung us to give us our test results.
You can't even, never mind hearing them laugh. You can't even see them smile.
Lads, brilliant.
I know.
GardenGigsIreland.com is the website to go to. As Danny said as well, get the two lads on their social, Danny O'Brien and Damon Clark. Lads, thanks for a million for filling us in, and fair play for all the work you're doing.
Yeah, keep it up.
Thank you, lads. Thank you.
All the best.
Bye.
See you later.
Good luck.
Bye.
Two serious heavyweight comedians as well. I mean, Damo picked up his last show at the Edinburgh Fringe, completely sold out for the month, and won the People's Champion Award. So these guys know what they're doing.
Cheese and crackers on the way after Florence on Today FM.